All right, back on the show and back to football we go with Dave Lapham from the Bengals Radio Network, the former Bengal. Another former Bengal. The kicker, Doug Pelfrey, is here, and Richard Skinner from Local12.com. Guys, I'll start right away by asking the poll question because obviously anytime there's a backup quarterback situation, it always becomes a lightning rod. A.J. McCarron, based on his performance last night. Too small of a sample? You project him maybe as a starter down the road, or will he remain in the backup role? Dave, why don't we start with you on the outside there?
I think it's way too small a sample.
Okay.
You know, you're talking about a quarter of football. So I think he obviously did very well, took advantage of an opportunity, but one quarter does not a career make. I don't think he can make any determination at this point in time. I think he's got all kinds of ability. I think he could be a potential starter. Who knows where? But, I mean, he's got the it factor. He really does.
Doug Pelfrey, what do you say?
To Dave's point, I think he is a potential starter just for the fact that he does have the it factor. You watch him in the huddle. You watch how he relates. Obviously, he played in a big-time program at Alabama that I think he's got the, I guess, he's got the it. It's just whether he gets the opportunity. And that's what the NFL is about. It's about the opportunity. Yep. If Andy goes out and has a great year, he never will get a chance. If it doesn't go that way, somebody gets hurt, he may get his opportunity.
You make a great point because let's say the Bengals win a Super Bowl this year and Andy's the guy. What are you laughing at?
No, it's...
this is hypothetical.
Okay, yeah.
If they win and Andy's the guy, then AJ will get an opportunity. It will never be here, though.
Right.
It will never be here. It'll be somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, but he is a potential starter. You watch him throw the football, just purely throw the football. He struggled at times early in camp, and some of that was timing with receivers, even in one-on-one drills or even in one-on-none drills, for goodness sakes. But he does throw the football very well. The stage is never going to be too big for him. I mean, when you've played at LSU on a Saturday night and everybody's yelling at you, you're going to handle the NFL. He handled the speed of the game, and I just think he handles himself extremely well. But much to both those guys' points, you know, much like the Tampa Bay game, the first half of the Tampa game didn't define this team. The small sample size that A.J. McCarron played is not going to define whether he's a starter yet or not.
Okay, and last night, as we know, was the dress rehearsal for the regular season at Indianapolis on Thursday. They'll close the preseason, but we're not expecting to see much, if any, of the starters, certainly not the quarterback. So, Doug, let me ask you, if last night was, in fact, the dress rehearsal, how do they look once the curtain goes up for Oakland 2 weeks from tonight?
I think they look right on schedule right now. I think if you look at them and how they played, just the way that first drive, I think, was indicative of what I think we all want to see. You know, as far as spreading the field, and just they went 16 plays, I think, down the field. You know, I think defensively we put pressure on the quarterback. You know, I think it was they stopped a pretty good running game, and so you know, it's all the components to what you want to see from this team.
Dave Lapham, in a salary cap era, the league leaves teams somewhat incomplete. There are no perfect teams. Even the great teams, the team that wins Super Bowl 50, will have flaws, imperfections. What are the Bengals' imperfections going into this season, which could be a problem?
Very few, honestly. The Bengals have as much depth or more than most teams in the National Football League. I mean, you know, you might be looking at, at the wide receiver position. I'd only keep 5 right now based on what I've seen. I'd only keep 5 wide receivers. I'd keep 9 offensive linemen. I'd keep 24 offensive players and 26 defensive players based on what I'm seeing right now, and then 3 specialists instead of 25, 25, and 3. And you can always change it. It's in constant shuffle because, you know, will Vontaze Burfict be on the PUP list or not? You know, they may keep him on the 53-man roster, deactivate him to make sure he'd be available earlier than November 1st, for example. That's a potential. I mean, there's so many things that can go on, but you look at this roster, the roster depth's pretty strong. I mean, I know there's a lot of teams in the National Football League that like to have the Bengals problems.
Yeah, they're a deep team. There's no question about it, Skin.
The thing that's a little disconcerting is the depth on the offensive line. You know, the Eric Winston started in the Tampa game and didn't play particularly well at right tackle, and I do like him, but boy, you get beyond him, there's not a lot there. You look last night when the second-team offensive line came in, they did nothing against the Bears. I mean, nothing. They got very few yards and obviously 0 points. And the linebacking core without Vontaze Burfict, I'm trying to find, is there a playmaker? I mean, A.J. Hawk's kind of been invisible at times. Ray Maluga's a one-down player, for goodness sakes. I mean, they're so hoping they stop him on first down, they get to their sub-packages. And Vinny Ray is just a guy. So those are the 2 areas that bother me a little bit.
Skinny,
but it is a great roster.
Though, every team in the NFL.
Oh, right.
Exactly
I agree. I'm not
That's why you draft.
Right, and that goes back to the point. It is a good roster. There's no question. It's a very good roster. But if I'm nitpicking at depth on offensive line, it does show that it's a good. Yeah, right. No question.
No, you can't. Well, like I said at the top of the question, in a salary cap league and a 53-man roster, every team, even the team that wins the Super Bowl, will have some flaws. To discuss further the linebacker situation, this is why you draft well. P.J. Dawson, they like him. He's looked good so far, hasn't he, Dave?
He has looked good. I mean, starting to look good. In the beginning of camp, He took a lot of shortcuts. He didn't hit anybody. I never saw him come downhill and hit an offensive lineman or a lead fullback or anything. But he's a gamer, and that's what he was at TCU. When you talk to Gary Patterson, it's like he's talking about Vontaze Burfict. He's a little bit of a knucklehead, not a real strong workout guy in the weight room, but game time, man, playmaker. Tackle machine makes plays.
And they might need him to be. All right, in 10 seconds or less, Doug, best part about this football team is which aspect?
The depth. I think the fact that we can go, you can actually absorb some injuries this year.
All right, guys, thanks so much. We look forward to a great season with all three of you as the Bengals about to get underway. 2 weeks from right now, week 1 will be in the books.